This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Matchroom CEO Frank Smith. Frank, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good. Happy Christmas and New Year almost. How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. We're here to review 2021 as it's on the way out, of course. And I guess the best place to start, one of the biggest stories in boxing over the past year, and specifically for Matchroom, was the move in the UK from Sky Sports, long-standing partner, to DAZN, where the rest of your operations were already broadcast. Just first of all, tell us how close to the announcement were you still making the decision?
It was a process that had been going on. We'd had a long, great relationship with Sky, obviously, over the years in the UK, but it was a process where we saw that there was a lot of opportunity to grow our business and grow the sport on a global scale. In terms of the decision, it took, obviously, it was a massive move. We've been with Sky, as I say, for a long, long time. So, it took a lot of time, a lot of discussions. And, we'd sort of planned the route sort of April, May time, and then obviously kicked off in the summer. So, like I say, it was a lot of work and a lot of discussions to get to the point, but, we're in a great place and we're very happy with the move we've made.
How do you assess the progress so far, particularly in terms of numbers?
In terms of where we are, we're in a great place with DAZN. As I said, they're the best platform who want to grow the sport of boxing on a global scale and align with us with the vision of what we want to do with the sport. We don't go into details of numbers, etc., but we're very happy with the way things are moving. And I think, to be open, we wouldn't have made this move if we didn't believe it was the right thing to do, not only for our business but for the sport of boxing. We, like I say, we'd had a long journey with Sky. If we thought that was the best route, we would have stayed on that route. But we believe this was the right journey to move on to. And there's huge opportunity here, and we're in a great place. I think you just have to look at the schedule that we've delivered throughout the year. I think it's unparalleled in terms of any other promoter. So things are good.
Give us an overview, if you can, or the bullet points of what you can achieve for the business via DAZN globally that you couldn't if you had stayed with Sky.
I think it's, like I said, it's the global vision for the sport of boxing. You only have to look at the types of fighters we're signing now from all over the world. Our aim is not just to be the leading promoter in the UK or the leading promoter in the US, or we're looking to build the sport of boxing and move into 10, 15 markets over the next 4 or 5 years. And the DAZN platform and the vision they have gives us that opportunity to do so. Obviously with Sky, it was always focused around the UK because that's where they obviously got Germany and Italy, but that was their core focus with boxing for us. And we'd already started growing out. We first move with the DAZN was into the US, then we went into Italy and then Spain, Mexico more recently. So it gives us that ability, as I say, to really grow the sport of boxing that maybe we wouldn't have been able to do if we stayed doing what we were doing.
And in terms of promoting fights and building relationships with rival promoters and other broadcasters, do you think this will make it more difficult, or do you think have you seen positive steps in that regard?
I think you only have to look at DAZN as a platform and the way they do things. Ultimately, they want to grow the sport of boxing. You have to look at their social media. They cover everything. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's a DAZN show, whether it's a Sky show, whether it's Showtime, whoever it is. They're just interested in growing the sport of boxing because ultimately that's beneficial to them in the long term with what they're investing in the sport. And I think, they're open to people fighting on other platforms if it makes sense in the long term. And that's, again, like I say, why we made this move, because they understand what needs to be done to grow the sport, which in the long term will build them. I already believe they're the global sort of focal sort of house of boxing. If you look around, if you look at any other broadcasters, everyone's just focused on, whether it's the US, whether it's the UK, whether it's in Italy, all these individual markets, you have individual broadcasters, but no one with that global vision. And I believe DAZN, like I say, will help us grow the sport and have a long-term vision for it and how big boxing can be.
Now, we saw this year as well, fans coming back. We hope that remains the case for a while. Obviously, there's a few noises at the moment, but how much of a challenge was that to bring fans back and to make it as good as it was before, with obviously certain COVID restrictions in place?
Yeah, no, look, it was great to see. We had some huge nights last year that, maybe at the start of the year you couldn't have imagined us doing. Whether that was at the Hard Rock Stadium, with Canelo and Yildirim in Miami, whether that was at the AT&T when we broke the indoor record for boxing with Canelo against Billy Joe Saunders, AJ against Usyk with 67,000. You had Josh Warrington back at Headingley with over 20,000. So it was great to have crowds back in there, and I think that made such a difference. I think with all sport we saw, atmosphere ultimately makes it, and it was really missed. So, and it's been great to deliver these big shows and these big audiences throughout the year, and hopefully going into 2022, nothing changes on that front, and we can keep it going, because, like I say, the fans make sport as well. And we were lucky enough to do some huge nights last year, and look forward to many big stadium shows and huge events in 22.
Now, although the result in AJUSIC didn't go the way you would have liked, how proud were you of the event itself and how it was presented?
Yeah, no, look, ultimately, as you say, the result wasn't what we wanted, but at the same time, that's boxing, isn't it? You can't win every week. We did close to 40 odd shows, over 300 fights last year. And unfortunately, your guy's not going to win every week. But for us, we put on events, we put on shows, and we want everyone to have the best time. And, looking around that stadium, there's not many nights that sort of compare to that in terms of the atmosphere. So, to put on a show of that magnitude, go to a new stadium, Tottenham were great to deal with. We've been lucky enough to do it at Wembley, at the Motor Point in Cardiff. But, that was a real special night, and those images and memories will really live on, albeit not the result. But, in terms of delivering an event and a spectacle, I think it was a night that will be remembered up there.
What's the best fight you saw in 2021?
Oh, best fight. Do you know what? The problem is sometimes I miss the fights as well. I'm always running about. Cheeseman Williamson was a really good fight. Teofimo Lopez against George Kambosos was brilliant, because there were so many, it was back and forth the whole time. Chisora Parker, what a way to end the year. I was trying to think back to early part of the year with so many shows. The Chocolatito Estrada fight was brilliant again. I think we're looking to do that again. So many great fights over the year. Lucky enough to have been there at nearly all of them. And our aim is to make even bigger and better fights next year.
Now, talking of next year, you might find this one a little bit more challenging, but pick out a fighter or fighters that you think we should keep an eye on in 2022, proviso not connected currently with Matchroom.
Not connected?
Yeah, not connected at the moment with Matchroom.
Okay. I like Keyshawn Davis, who's just signed with Top Rank. He's very good, really good fighter. The Olympians, obviously, that mainly haven't signed anywhere, like Ben Whittaker, very good fighter. Galal Yafai. There's lots of good talent out there. So it's going to be an exciting year. It's going to be a fight to get some of those names as well. That I mentioned some of those Olympian fighters. There's Lauren Price is another one. Karis. Lots of good talents still out there that hopefully we can get hold of. David Naika as well, who fought on our show the other week in Manchester. He's obviously a great amateur and looking to, he's obviously turned pro, but looking to focus on the professionals now. So lots of good names to look out for.